TVR Universe, I am Dave from TVR Creators, and in this week's live stream I will be giving you a fresh tutorial look at how to edit your videos. If that sounds interesting to you and will bring you value, subscribe now. So let's crack on with the video. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am pumped up today to bring you guys absolute value. I want to show you exactly how I edit one of my weekly videos on a live basis, step by step. Now, I must admit, I probably will sort of speed up a few parts just because otherwise it could be here all night. And, let me know. Please let me know if this is helpful, and let's crack on with the video. So we've had a little freeze in. I don't know what that was about. Let me know if you prefer to see me or to have it at a full screen. I'll probably mix it up a bit. But anyway, let's just crack on. So basically, we're going to be pushing the envelope today, live streaming and editing. Now, if you want to, if you're getting value from this video already, smash that like button. So basically, let's crack on. So this I'm using today, Magix Movie Edit Pro, and the tips and skills I will be showing you can use in pretty much any editing software or app. You can just apply the things you learned today in anything that you use. Obviously, it'll be variably different, or maybe a little bit different depending on what you're using. But the things I'm going to be showing you is going to be, the principles are going to be the same. So let's crack on. So this is basically a bit like Blue Peter. This is one I have made earlier. So this is just raw footage, and let's see if we can see this now. So this is basically raw footage that I've got set up for you guys now, which is really cool. And it starts off with multiple shots. So the first shot I'm going to delete is basically me pressing record for no reason, apparently. Let's have a look again.
Should you start a YouTube channel in 2021? Damn right, and this is why.
I don't know about you, but I tend to find, I don't know about this one, but I tend to find quite often when I'm filming, I don't know if you can relate to this, quite often I can take anywhere between 2, 3, up to 10 takes of a particular scene or shot that I'm doing for a video, and quite often it's the first 1 or 2 that the ones I like the most. I just find that funny. Value.
Should you start a YouTube channel in 2021? Damn right, and this is why.
Okay, that's not bad.
Should you start a YouTube channel?
Bit overkill. I don't like that. What's later on?
I'm Dave from TVR Creators, and I make weekly YouTube tips to help you build.
Okay, so this is the next part. So when you're thinking about your video, the template that I tend to go with now, which tends to work, and it's proven to work with better videos that I've seen on YouTube, and also with my own personal content here on the platform, I tend to find if you have a really good hook, straight away, it just confirms what the person's clicked on, so they know straight away it's the right video for them. Something that just pulls them in, grabs them in. If you absolutely must have an intro, I would say no longer than 3 seconds. So we're deciding this video if I will make a video, an intro in this particular video that I'm editing now, and then you want to give them a value as soon as possible. Value, 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 and the bulk of your video is the value, whatever the video is. If it's a blog, a cooking video, a gaming video, a gaming tutorial, rock climbing, whatever your video is about, the bulk of your video is the value. And then you've got sort of the end when you think about, how you want to position your video. If you're doing end cards, I will show you in this video what I do. But just thinking about that, and one little tip I would highly recommend is make the end, if you can, as short as possible. And a little tip I tend to use now, rather than saying every video, it doesn't matter so much in live streams, but especially in, your core content, rather than saying, yeah, you can find me here, there, and everything else, I tend to find it's probably just easier if you just say, you can find me on Twitter, and then maybe next video, find me on Instagram. or maybe the next video, you know, as your, you know, core fans get to know you, you can be like, yeah, I got a Facebook social community, go and check us out. Or, you know, if you've got merch, you know, you can mention that in the video. Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing, rather than just perhaps bombarding everybody. So your core fans don't get the whole list every single time. But also, you know, for a new person, you know, I want you to think about your audience. So if you've got to think every video you'll post will be seen by new people. So do not be afraid to repeat yourself a little bit in multiple videos. But also remember, like I said, new people will see every single video. So, you know, you don't want to bombard them with, yeah, check us out here and everything else, because, you know, they might only watch a couple of your videos anyway, and they might go, oh, cool, he's on Twitter, I'll check him out on that. You might get a follow out of it, and that's gravy. But obviously you want to build your channel and get subscribers. That's the most important. But just sort of bear that in mind. So if that's the most important thing to you, and this is the next thing then, if it's more important for you just to get subscribers and likes and comments, perhaps that's all you want to put at the end of the video. If you got value from today's video, hit the subscribe button. You know, you could literally say that. But I personally think it probably, this is something I see a lot, people just say, subscribe. But I would highly recommend give a reason why. So I tend to say, you know, if you want to learn about YouTube and video on a weekly basis, subscribe to this channel. If you're getting value from this video, smash that like button, that sort of thing. You know, give a reason. You know, if they want weekly, you know, baking tips or gaming tips, or, you know, if you want to learn how to play guitar, subscribe to this channel. You know, just bear that in mind when you're making your content. Anyways, let's get on with the video. Value. So that bit's there. So what I tend to do now, this is my timeline. Sorry, if you are really new to editing. So you tend to have a timeline in most editing programs, and you can have simple ones. I'm not going to click the different buttons because I tend to find it goes to other place and I don't want to confuse it. But you do have like simpler ones where you can just put videos in, and you can actually drag and drop and transitions, and you can just press render and that's it. But if you're a bit like me and you want to, you know, experiment with your video, have a bit more customization, edit everything yourself, I highly recommend the timeline. I find it, you know, once you get used to it, depending on whatever program you use, it tends to get easier, and it just, you know, you can be much more creative. I tend to see editing like a painting. Might sound weird at first, but, you know, to begin with, it's just a blank canvas. You've got a rough idea what you want to paint, but by the end of the video, it could end up completely different and quite often better than you originally thought it would be. So bear that in mind. On this particular video, you have just sort of, you know, where you can see the video, just the, you know, the video screen, whatever you call it, and you tend to have your footage that you use on this particular program. It just gives you like a little red dot. Different programs do different things. Sometimes they highlight them, or they might have different boxes. And then on this particular program, I have like import, obviously effects. On Magix, I do like Magix actually, because fingers crossed it doesn't do it tonight, but it doesn't tend to crash very often. And in my 15 plus years of editing, I know it's a long time, if not longer, I have found that editing, no matter what your computer is, how powerful it is, most programs, especially when it comes to editing, does tend to crash a lot. It's just part of the business, so bear that in mind. I can't really speak too much about phones, but I imagine it's probably the same on phones. Feel free to comment if that's you. If you've asked a question already, just bear with me, I will get to them. And let me know actually, if you watch this video on a phone, TV, laptop, it'd just be interesting to know where you're watching this content from, just out of pure interest. And yeah, so you have templates, and you know, you can be like all silly with stuff like that. Obviously different programs have hundreds, and another thing I like about this, it has like a few hundred, but some programs have thousands, and sometimes you can just get lost in the ocean of transitions and effects. You're probably thinking, what's that? Okay, so just to bear in mind, if you're completely new to editing, effects tend to be like, you know, if you're going to make it black and white, or if you're going to make it, I don't know, do color correction, or you might make something fuzzy, or make a clip zoom in, you know, that sort of thing. And transitions tend to be like from clip to clip. So if you think about when you watch a film, it's probably the best way to think about it. You might have a very fast cut where it's just literally just the two clips and it goes from one to the other. And quite often you might get a mini fade, like a crossover fade. And then what that basically just means is you drag the clip over, and from there it will just make it seem more smoother. You won't get any like, it's not too snappy. And then obviously you get more clever transitions where people, they call them J cuts and L cuts. But personally, all you really need to remember is if you want to be really clever, you might want to put some of the audio underneath the previous track. So say if you're doing a clip, say a film's a good way example, you've got two people talking and it makes it feel more real. And more natural because a part of their talking will be underlapped with the next clip. So basically, it looks like they're all talking in the same shot where in reality you probably filmed it, one person and the other person because that's just how a lot of films are made. Anyway, just bear that in mind. So basically on this timeline then, and I will just be using simple cuts and transitions today, sort of things that you might use in YouTube videos, because this is all about editing your YouTube videos, and I don't believe you need millions of cuts and transitions and effects, so please don't get overwhelmed, because actually once you get used to it, it's actually quite easy. Now I do know it can take hours, and I know it does take some people days, and that's fine. Bear in mind, don't feel too pressured. I have been doing this for 15 years. So I can edit a YouTube video anyway, in if I really want to, in about 40 minutes. So just bear that in mind. But anyway, so I am going to use.
Should you start a YouTube channel in 2021? Damn right, and this is why.
Right, that's quite cool. I'm just going to use that, and this is something I want you to bear in mind when you're editing your videos, is just make sure that the first cut
should you start
is as close to you actually talking as possible. And in literally all programs you should have like a little pair of scissors that you can just cut, and then you can just click on the clip and delete it, and there it is, it's gone. And then what I recommend then, so you don't get any gaps, because some programs get scared, is just for safety, just straight to the front, and now we've got the first part of the video.
Should you start a YouTube channel in 2021? Damn right, and this is why.
And then I tend to press the space bar, and in a lot of programs the timeline marker will stop. On this particular program it doesn't do that. You have to sort of work out where it is, but don't worry too much.
Why?
So I tend to then, I'll move it exactly. My eyes look really scary in that clip. I don't know if you noticed, YouTube actually commented, YouTube the other day, gave a cartoon of two little eyes. I think I did a picture where I was like that, and it was just like, okay. I just find it funny. Right, should I do an intro? I'm going to let you guys decide. Do I do an intro or not? Let's have a look. Here he is. Do I do an intro in this video? Yes or no? Put in the comments right now, live. Do I put an intro in this video? We're waiting for liveness. We're waiting for liveness. Okay, I can't see you now, so you just have to bear with it. Okay, right, I'm going to do a mini intro. And this is the intro that I use if I decide to do videos. And you probably noticed recently, for those of you core fans have been watching for the last few weeks and months, you've probably noticed I tend to mix it up a bit. So again, thinking of you guys, my core audience, and for new people, I try to bear in mind that, new people, but at the same time, for those of you that watch my videos every week, I don't want it to be like, oh, here we go, there's the intro again, and and that is the feedback that you sometimes get. So I try to mix it up a bit. So sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. So bear that in mind. So I'm just going to do my quick one, which I do now, and I basically put my logo in if I'm going to do it. I haven't actually done this for a few weeks, just because I find intros are a bit hit and miss, and there's more and more talk on YouTube now that actually, in the nicest possible way, people don't really care about the intro. And I mean that in the nicest possible way, they just don't. They're just like, yeah, whatever. And some people try to be all clever and have an intro that goes on for like 10 seconds. And the truth is, I'm sure if you looked in your YouTube Studio app, if you haven't got it already, you will find, it's like, get on with it, Dave, that most people probably just skipped it. So that's just how it goes. And think of what I just said about the clip.
Should you start a YouTube?
Well, we've already got that, Dave. So I'm just going to delete that because I'm not going to use that, which is cool, which is fair enough. I hope it doesn't freeze again. I don't know what that's about.
I'm Dave from TVR Creators, and I make weekly YouTube.
Now, what I tend to like is, and I keep testing, and I advise you to do the same. Test and experiment when you do your content. Sometimes I have this bit at the end, sometimes I've had it later on, sometimes I've had it right at the beginning. And thinking about that hook again, I'm sort of making this part of the value now. So I'm sort of giving you what I am about.
I'm Dave from TVR Creators.
Let's pull it in a bit.
I'm Dave from
No.
I'm Dave
No.
from TVR
No.
I'm Dave from TVR Creators.
I don't think that's the best me doing it, but for this video, I'm not going to over worry. But you get the idea. So basically, that's me, and then I'm just going to crop it over.
I'm Dave from TVR Creators, and I make weekly YouTube tips.
And something actually I've forgotten to show you, which I do, is I do a little cut. Bear in mind your intro's different and play around. You probably think, hey Dave, where's your little thing? This is how I do it. So I basically have a picture of my logo, which I don't use as much as I probably should. I just don't. And I tend to just pull it back a little bit more. Yeah, so the idea is it's almost like a camera going, and actually Brad, who's watching now, I think actually it was his idea if I remember rightly, but I've been doing it for so long I can't remember. So what I do with that is I then have, if I can find it, I'm completely getting dragons now. No. There we go. So I have lots of camera effects, sound effects that is, and I'm sort of not rushing it, but sort of. So what I tend to do now is I go to the part of the track and it's basically, there's about 500 different sound effects, and I think I downloaded this off the YouTube Studio or off YouTube or something years ago. But you know, you can do your own, you can record your own effects. It's probably safer or whatever. It doesn't really matter. So you can see. And sometimes I'll get really anal over this, but I won't for today. I don't want you to sit there for 5 hours while I'm editing the intro. Wait for it. So what do you reckon? Is that cool? That's not bad. I think we'll go with that. And just so there isn't a long track after it, I'll go to the end of the sound effect. Use those scissors effects again. Just snip the clip. So see it as like, like old-fashioned film reel. Can't talk after time. Just see it as you've got loads and loads of that, and you're just sort of overlapping to make a transition. If you really overlap it, or make it a long transition, and you're just cutting and sticking it together. That's literally all you're doing. So if you think of that as visually in your head as you're doing this, I find, I don't know, as daft as that might sound, I find that easier to think of, rather than, oh my god, what is this timeline doing? Oh my god, and all this sort of malarkey. So just think of that. Should I add music? Does anybody want music? Yes, Brad said yes. That's right, Brad, we're doing the intro with the eyes. Okay, value. Right, everything's working well, which is good. Now, should I add a bit of music?
I'm Dave from TVR Creators.
So at the moment then, at this point, I save it. Oh yeah, I'd highly recommend saving, because most programs do crash. They don't give any warning. They just give some made up error message that tends to mean nothing unless you spend 6 hours on forums. Value. And you don't want to be wasting time on doing that. So, and here's a little tip, a little power tip for you core fans that are really interested. I tend to, especially if you're on a program that you know crashes a lot, and which I must admit, touch wood, Magix doesn't, but most programs do. What I tend to do is, this sounds daft, but do it, or you can do it, is I'll do a little bit, especially if I'm making a short film or a longer video, and then I'll do a few scenes or a little bit, and I'll save it as like whatever the name is, and then it'll be like, you can just sort of say 1 and then 2, and then just resave it again. So then you'll go, right, you'll do a bit more, save it as 2, save it as 3. I tend to do 001, 002, but don't worry about that. And the reason I do that is sometimes if you're editing and it bombs out for no reason, that file can sometimes get corrupt and you'll lose all your work. Now I tend to find if you've saved at different points and that gets corrupt, you can just delete it. I recommend if it does get corrupt, just delete it, it's just easier. And then open up the last one, and okay, you might have lost 10 minutes of work, but at least you haven't lost the whole video. So just a little power tip for you. that's something that I've in the past I've done a lot, not so much recently, but it's something I recommend. As you just seen there, a lot of programs do auto save.
I'm Dave from TVR.
Useful, but at the same time, a bit pointless because if it bombs out, it doesn't mean nothing. Right, so where does this go?
If that sounds interesting to you, subscribe now.
So I'm just going to sort of save it there, or cut it there rather, and then at this point I tend to watch what I've done so far.
Should you start a YouTube channel in 2021? Damn right, and this is why.
So we've got the nice little
I'm Dave
clip.
from TVR Creators, and I make
Dave.
weekly YouTube tips to help you build your brand. If that sounds interesting to you, subscribe now.
Oh, I've actually cut a little bit early. Which so we just go back in, you'll get a little icon that would just look like think of it as like curtains, and it will just sort of pull it back. Sorry if it's a bit
Subscribe now.
Okay, that's not perfect, but yeah, it's all right there. And then in this particular one, I've spoken for way too long. So this is what I'm going to show you now. What you can do is do what I said before, so wait till you start.
Now you may have been pondering
so this is where I do. So you want to, what I tend to do is then I zoom in.
Now you may have been pondering.
So you notice mine have got a long pause, and the reason I do that is one, because it takes me a minute to, to think about what I'm going to say rather than saying anything, and also.
Now you may have been pondering.
And also when it comes to edit, it makes it easier for me to edit different clips together, because if you just press record and go, you might muck up a little bit and then it might be really hard to edit, if that makes any sense.
And you may have been pondering. And you may have been
So same thing again, I'm going to delete that pointless bit of me just getting needy at the camera. If you're getting value from today's video, smash that like button. If you just joined us and you watch this live, I'm Dave from TVR Creators, and I make weekly YouTube tips to help you build your brand. If that sounds interesting to you, subscribe now. And at the moment then, I'm doing an editing series, a 3-part, 2 bite-size and this longer live video that you can watch on the replay at any time. And I'm making this editing series to make editing easier for you guys and to bring you guys absolute value. Now on a weekly basis I make videos about YouTube tips and the YouTube Studio app and stuff like that, and I've got a lot of video tips content on my channel to do with lighting and sound and everything to do, cameras and all that. So after this video, feel free to go and check out any of our content. And we've got bite-sized videos, we've got shorts videos now, a nice playlist of that, more live streams if you want to go, if you're real hardcore and want to learn about how to make videos. I've got loads of live streams where I go into much more detail. But for those of you that just want something really quick and easy, like I said, I've got the shorts videos now. They're like a minute long on different topics, and also I've got my bite-sized videos that are between 5 and 10 minutes, because I appreciate most people don't want to be staring at videos for hours. So go and check them out after this video. So the transition then, I'm going to show you how to do this. So the sort of snap transition would be just to put the 2 clips together.
And you may have been.
And it literally just does that. I find personally, if I just drag it over, if you think of the 2 bits of film sort of going over each other, and just bear in mind, if you make this really long,
Right now. You may have been pondering.
you can see it gets a much longer. So it doesn't work so much in a YouTube video.
Subscribe now. You may have been pondering.
But say, for example, you doing a shot, I don't know, you walking across a field or something, that would be a very good way, and you can make that really long. So just bear with me a second, you can make it really long.
Then to you, been pondering for weeks, months, maybe.
I don't know, maybe it does, but personally that tends to work more if you're showing the passage of time and all that sort of stuff. But I tend to find just a really short transition just makes it feel more natural.
You may have been right now. You may have been.
And I quite often will do that about 20 times before I'm happy.
Subscribe now. You may have been pondering for weeks.
And I probably would make that a bit more better, but you get the idea, and that's much more natural than sometimes the cut can come across a bit clunky and a bit amateurish. I can't say that word, but just bear that in mind.
Subscribe now. You may have been pondering.
But that's not too bad. I have noticed actually in this video, there is loads. It goes on for a minute. So let's just
subscribe now.
So
you may have been pondering for weeks, months, maybe even years about should you start a YouTube channel. And I want you to take this on board. Really watch this video and take in what I'm about to say.
So what I'll do, trying to think of the audience again, I'm constantly thinking, right, at this point in time, I'm bored. So I will hit the cut, I will select the video, I will, depending on what I'm talking about, I might do it for a few seconds, or if I've I've suddenly like clapped or something, I will just pull in the video just for a second, just to sort of re-alert the audience eye and keep them interested, if that makes sense. So I'm going to cut the video again, select the cutted bit of video that I've selected, and then I'm going to go on to effects, and I'm going to use the size and positioning. I'm just going to go to the corner of the video, and I'm just going to bring it in just a tad, and then I'm just going to reposition it back in the center. And if you're using HD or 4K, it will look fine, so don't worry about looking blurry and stuff like that, especially if you're using a proper camera.
Watch this video and take in what I'm about to say. Now, if you've obviously been thinking about a YouTube channel, then obviously you're most likely a creative person, and that is...
You see what I mean? So it just pulls you in, and as you're watching it, it just sort of re-alerts your attention, and straight away, and you know, you want to be thinking of your audience, but you want your audience to watch your videos as long as possible. So what you don't want, personally, is, you know, 10-15 minutes of you just talking to a camera with no cuts or anything, because personally most people will probably get bored, and that's just the brutal truth. And then just for space, I would actually watch this video,
on board here.
Make sure there's nothing I don't like. If there's something I don't like, so just for example, you know, this ain't going to be a finished video, so don't worry too much. So say I don't like this little bit here, you can just cut it, select the right-sided part of the video. Say I don't like that much of the video for whatever reason, I don't know, what I say doesn't make sense, or I, you know, mess up on my words, or I just don't quite like how I said it, or perhaps I was saying the same thing again. Then you can just press the cut, select the video, press delete, gone. And then from there, this is when it can get a little tricky. You can then just pull it back in. So you'll probably notice this will now make no sense.
Awesome. I welcome you on board here. This is why you should start a channel.
So it's a cut one. So what we could do to try and like trick the audience, or not trick the audience, but sort of cover up the fact we've got with a bit of video we don't like, we then want to do this really nice fade again. And what we could do, we could just pull it back.
See you on board here. This is why you should start a channel.
So let's just tidy it up a little bit.
You on board here. This is why you should start a channel.
So for now, we'll just go with that. I would spend ages probably doing that.
Welcome you on board
but
here.
Basically, I would do it to the point where nobody would probably even notice. So you look, by all means, look out for it on other content. So yeah, so you see that.
Board here. This is why you should start a channel.
So and then you go
start a YouTube channel.
And then something else I want you to think about is B-roll. So this is A-roll. If I haven't said that already, I apologise. So A-roll is basically just the main video. You know, you talking or film or whatever the video's about, if you're a gamer, blah, blah, blah. And I would highly recommend B-roll, again, to keep your audience engaged and to make them to, you know, want them to watch more of your content. I would then add B-roll. So let's see if this has any B-roll. I don't know if it does. I can't remember where the video actually is, which is really not helpful. It doesn't. But I do have lots of B-roll ready to go. So just for argument's sake, I'm going to use, just to break it up a bit, let's just have, we've been talking about phones and cameras recently. I've got a nice bit of video here of me playing with a phone. I'm just going to put it underneath. Now on certain programs, the B-roll will go underneath on the timeline, and on some programs it will go above. Just depends on what program you're using, so don't worry too much. It's the same principle. Put it over the top, underneath. You'll soon find out, because what you want it to do is you'll play your video.
The YouTube channel is a journey.
And your B-roll will then show while you're still talking. And what I would highly recommend is just click on your B-roll. On this you can just select the bottom and just turn off the audio, and you're on some programs you have like a bar. You just hover your mouse icon over the bar, just pull it down is the easiest way to do it, or you can right click on the video and just press delete audio. I know in programs like Adobe and stuff it does that easier, so just bear that in mind. And then straight away we've got some nice B-roll.
Channel is a journey. I genuinely mean that. And later on in the video,
now that part of the B-roll doesn't actually make sense, obviously, so bear in mind you want B-roll that makes sense. There are great websites out there that do give free B-roll, but just be careful of them, just in case, you know, not free, or they are free and they're actually copyrighted or whatever. I try to make my own just because it's safer, but by all means test around.
Is a journey. I genuinely mean that. And later on in the video, I'm going to share with something with you that.
And going back to what I was saying at the beginning about the clips, you know, you might not like the beginning and the end. Just pull it in or use the cut feature so you can tell I'm about to turn off the camera. You don't really want to see that, so I'll just pull it back in and we just bring in. And if you want to be really clever, you might want to get another bit of B-roll and do that nice little transition. And this is where we could use that long transition to make the video seem more seamless. So let's just have a look.
Starting a YouTube channel is a journey. I genuinely mean that. And later on in the video, I'm going to share with something with you that I want you to feel a part of.
You see that nice transition? And bear in mind my weird eyes moving around the place, and that's because I haven't deleted the beginning of the video, but we can cure that when I'm actually doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Pull it back in with a nice transition.
Starting a
Play the
YouTube
video
channel
again.
Is a journey. I genuinely mean that. And later on in the video, I'm going to share with something with you that I want you to feel a part of. So just bear with me.
And it just, you know, sets a scene. It's a bit of storytelling, and you know, in a sort of, you know, a small way, but it's all part of being a content creator, because you know you perhaps want to tell a story if you're, you know, if you're a blogger, for example, or even if you're not, you know, again, if you can maybe story tell a little bit, it might engage your audience even more. So we're now thinking that. So then after that, you might want to go back to just awesome. Talking normally, and as you can see,
where should you
I
start
like to waffle
on this journey? Well, first,
so perhaps I let myself talk for a little bit, and then I'm going to hit the cut button, and I'm probably going to see what I'm talking about out of interest.
Use an old email, I believe you can still do that.
So as you can see, I quite often will get my tongue twisted and can't say certain things, so I will then delete that part as I just showed. I will then pull over a little transition. Bear in mind, if you're doing it, or if I was doing this properly, you know, like in one of my actual videos, I wouldn't do it as quick as that possibly.
Just literally just make a Google account, still do that. You can still do that.
And sometimes actually you may have noticed, to sort of bring out my personality again, so your audience gets to know you, you might want to keep that in. You might think actually that's actually quite funny, you know, taking the mick out of yourself. So you can see there, I did take the mick out of myself a little bit because I know sometimes I can't say certain words. So I pull that back.
Just literally just make a Google account, do that. You can still do that.
Yeah, and it just adds a bit of humour. Again, it probably engages your audience more because it shows you're not a robot, you know, and this sort of thing. And what I would probably actually, what was that? I was
just literally just make a Google account.
Yeah, if you want to be really precise on a transition or get it really right, I would highly recommend just zoom in a little bit and just get the transition exactly however you want it until you're happy. And if you're there for an hour on a transition, and if it makes you feel better when you watch your video a week later or when you've uploaded it, you think actually it's really good. And what you know, my good friend Brad will always say to me is, do not post the video unless you're absolutely happy with it. And I must admit, not so much now, obviously, I do not do it now, but years ago in the past, I might be like, I'll be all right, or I've been editing for 2 hours and I'll sort of rush the last few transitions. Don't do that, because you'll be annoyed with it forever and it's just not worth it. And you want to give the best value, thinking about value again, to your audience. I'm just going to have a brief look before we carry on, see if anyone's in there. Binge-worthy gaming. Hey, hello, welcome. Binge-worthy gaming, welcome. I didn't realise you were there. I've only just looked at the stream, just dropping in for that value, brother. Hey, I'm glad you're getting value. Carry on watching as much of this as you want. Value. I'm just going to put that in just in case you drop in and I'm talking about something else. I'm just going to say value. Anyway, no, thank you. I appreciate that. Right, so let's crack on the video. At this point then, I will zoom out, and as you can see, I've got quite a lot of the video. How long has it been going for? Oh, okay, 30 minutes, right. Right, so basically then, what I then do, as I can't get the video right. So from that bit then, what I would then tend to do, and you know, bear in mind I won't be discussing every little thing I'm doing, I'll just be doing it like a little machine. So you know, I may want to talk for a little bit, I'll press cut, I'll do another little bit, I'll press cut. You know, I'll bring the size in. I'll bring in. I look like I've had too much to drink in that clip. what we're talking about there.
And, you know, just make it a welcome video. Hi guys, I'm whoever, you know, blah, 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 you know, and just get used to it. And if you don't...
And I really like that fact. I did go through a phase of slowly fading it in, but I just found it just looked a bit tacky, or like somebody was playing with the camera, and I think a few people did comment like, what are you doing? But I just find it just looks more professional and more natural if it just has that, you know, little cut in and then it just goes back out again. And, you know, and sometimes going back to that storytelling, you could use it. So if you're like, hey, you know what, you know, if you sort of get brainwave idea or something, you could maybe zoom, you know, just sort of zoom it in for a second and then it would go back to normal. And then, you know what I mean? So it just makes the video more engaging, and you want to think about everything. And what the rule that I tend, and there is no real rule, but I tend to think I try not to let any angle or clip go on for any longer than a minute. I mean, I don't even let it get on that long, but if you're just you staring at a camera for longer than a minute, unless what you're talking about is really interesting, or I don't know, you're really nice to look at. I can't imagine people want to sit there for 40 minutes without a cut or whatever. So yeah, so on that principle, I'm going to go to cam 2. Oh yes, cam 2. So I just thought, let's just mix it up a bit, just because why not? And then from here, let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Value. What I would then recommend is just do the game. So you want a bit more B-roll, then you want to do a bit of a cut, then you might do another bit over here, do another bit of cut. So let's just say that you've done that, and you've cut, and then you might want to add in, I don't know, just to make it different in this bit here. You might want to add in an effect, something like that. So you might want to go, right, what effects could we play around with? Boom, 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 boom. Where are my effects? Where are my effects? Where are they? Boom, boom, boom. And obviously you can add text and stuff, but I'm not going to bother that today. I did go through a phase of actually having like different professional things, but I didn't bother. I'm trying to think of something. I don't know. You might want to show the passive time by speeding something up. So I might speed a bit of clip just because why not? And then I might add a bit of music. Now, if you are going to use music, I would highly recommend the easiest and safer way. If you can, make it yourself. But if you can't, just go on the YouTube music library and find a bit of simple backtrack that just fits whatever bit of video you want it for, or a music video or whatever. And then just sort of, you can download it for free, and I personally would mention it in your description just because of best practice and that sort of thing. And most of them are non-copyright because they've been made by YouTube for us creators, so bear that in mind. Now some of them do have a bit more like, you know, please mention us and sort of thing, and maybe just stay away from them, or if you really like a certain track then you use it. But I would highly recommend staying away from, you know, your favourite song or your favourite artist, because your video may get flagged. And I know you might go, well, there's loads of videos, Dave, of that song, but there probably is, but you know, they're probably flagged loads. And if they want to get monetized, or if any of you want to get monetized, you may have that problem down the road, or struggle to, or somebody might buy the rights to that song 5 years down the line and go, right, every person with that song, take down that video, strike against their channel, or you might automatically get a few strikes against your channel. And you know, it's just a lot of drama unnecessarily, when all you had to do was just not have music, or have a safe option like the music that you can get off YouTube. It's just a safer way to do it. So yeah, so that's really cool.
And post that on your channel, so people straight away know what your channel's about. So it's very obvious, you know, I don't know, Donald's blogs, or I don't know, Sarah's adventures, or Sarah's photography.
I do find it funny when you speed up or slow down clips. It does make it quite entertaining. But you know, if I was doing that properly, I'd probably delete the audio, add a bit of music to it. I've done that in my unboxing videos. You know, again, just about trying to make your video more engaging, more interesting, bringing people value. And on that note, I think I'm going to bring myself back to cam 1, because I think you guys probably prefer that. Yeah, so let's just say we've done the rest of that video, and we've added a bit of B-roll. You know, we've cut in and out on a few shots, this sort of thing, and then we want to come to the end.
So question of the day then, what do you...
That was long. I've really mucked up on that clip, so let's just delete that. I would highly recommend actually make sure when you're doing your videos either have a script if you find it helpful, or I personally have bullet points, so I know roughly what I'm going to say, and then I do that bit for a minute or two, cut, I might do it 2 or 3 times, and then the next bullet point, whatever I want to talk about in a particular video, or the second tip of that topic or whatever, and then from that. So when you come to edit, like now, it's far easier because you're like, right, that's what I say, that's what I say. You can look on your bit of paper or your pad or wherever you've written it. Right, that's what I want, that's what I want. Where if you just talk for half an hour, which I've done that as well, it's so much harder because then you have to waste time in the nicest possible way, looking through the video, cutting bits that are just pointless or repeating themselves, all that sort of thing. When it would have been so much easier if you just recorded bit by bit, so it's just easier for you. It's all about, bringing the audience value, but trying to make everything you do as easy and as enjoyable as possible. So bear that in mind. If you're getting value from today's video, smash that like button. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing if you want weekly content as good as this or even better here at TBR Creators. So my end clip, let's see what happens.
What topic do you plan to discuss on?
I tend to end it on a question, just so you can ask your audience, so it engages your audience, so they can put something in the comments. And from that, I'm now going to say, so question of the day then, go on, Dave. What editing software do you use and why? So feel free to put in the comments below what editing software or app on your phone do you use and why. Just be interesting to know.
What topic do you plan to discuss on your channel? When are you going to start your...
You get the idea of that. And then I tend to end off with it'd be about here.
To feel part of this YouTube community that I've been talking about, go and check out our Facebook community page where you can share your own new videos, your channel, just ask questions. I like to drop hints and things that are going on in YouTube and so much more. And thank you again for watching and start that journey.
Exactly. Start that journey, Dave. So yeah, I'll cut that off and then we'll forget the question, doesn't matter. So we'll just leave that bit in there. It doesn't matter too much. I'll save it again. Make sure you've saved it multiple times throughout doing this. There's no reason actually you couldn't have this playing on a tablet and while you're editing, you could just see how I do it. If that helps any of you, by all means, let me know if that's something that any of you have done. And then what I tend to do is you can either have your end cards on your last little bit as you're saying goodbye. Obviously it's your video, do what you want. I tend to, I've designed just a bit of graphics, just advertising to watch my videos, and I will put that at the end. And then what I do is on my phone, I will time roughly 20 seconds because the end cards play for as long as 20 seconds. You can adjust that, make it shorter if you want, but I recommend leaving it. And then just for argument's sake, we've done that. So say that's 20 seconds. And then I'll put like my theme tune, which I'll pull in, put underneath it. I'll edit it in. So I usually end with "You Guys Rock" or something like that.
Again for watching.
You'll end with that, and then you'll get the bit of music. Why not? Let's just do that now because we can. There's my theme. And again, if you remember what I did with my sound effect, I actually have a part of the music that I prefer, which I think is that bit. You probably know it. And quite often, I'll give you this little share for those of you that have got this long in the video, to you core fans. Quite often when I've finished an edit and I'm happy with it and that tune plays, I'll jump off my chair and I'll be like, yes! Oh no, it's stupid, isn't it? Oh no, I've just cut that, I didn't mean to do that. Oh dear. So select the clip, cut it. If you're getting value, please smash that like button. And then what I tend to do actually, going about on that audio, on a lot of programs, they give you the option to like fade it in, which is a really good way. So I will sort of fade it in. I don't know if you can see that. I'll fade it in a little bit. Let's just briefly for this, let's just show you on here what I mean by that. So if you can just see that, if I've zoomed in, and then what I'll do here, I'll just pull that little dot, and most programs should have this. And as you can see, that's normal. And then you just pull it in and I'll sort of pull it there and it'll just see how it goes.
And thank you again for watching and start that
You know, I might even just pull that in a little bit. I might just edit it back, see how it goes.
And thank you again for watching, and start that journey.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Go back to Cam 1. Woo! Well, Cam 1, let me know what you think of the backdrop. That's brilliant. Absolute value. Who else is here? Sounds of Portugal. Oh, hello! Welcome! I use VSDC. Oh, cool. Is that Vegas, by any chance? Is that Vegas, if you're still here? Is Vegas? Is that VSDC? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm guessing that's Vegas. Sony Vegas. If it is, that's an awesome program. Hello, Sam. No, that's fine. Welcome. You can always watch us on repeat afterwards. No, that's cool. I apologise if I got that program wrong. VSDC. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Vegas, isn't it? If I'm wrong, let me know. And let me know if it's any good. Because I believe, actually, and another power tip I want to share with you guys is don't do what I do and spend like 10 years on the same program. Experiment, especially if you're in the beginner years. Get a couple trial versions of different programs. Get like 2 or 3. And just test, because you might use the program for ages and then you come across another one. Like, I'll be honest, I love Adobe. I've got nothing against them. I would love to use the Pro one, but I just can't warrant the prescription. But I had the Elements for years, different version of it. Great program. It did crash a lot, but and I admit that it was a very good program. But I don't know. I just really like Magic. I just find it really simple. I'm not saying you need something simple, but I just think sometimes, especially when you're making weekly YouTube videos on a weekly basis, you want something that's just easy and efficient and just gets the job done and doesn't have lots of things in the way. So just bear that in mind. But obviously, so definitely test if you're on your phone or if you edit on a computer. And then what I do with my end tags, and we're just getting back to that, and then I'll show you how I sort of finish off my video, is what I do then is blah, blah, blah. I'm getting all confused now. I select the clip and I will just bring it in a tad. And bear in mind, everything that you edit, especially on YouTube, try to think of it as people, how they would see it on their phone. So you don't want anything that's too small, just because most people will be watching your video on their phone, and therefore if it's too small they won't see it. So bear that in mind. You know, sometimes when you edit, and I've done this myself, I make things still thinking like everybody watches TV still, you know. And then, anyway, so that's my bit of graphical work. You don't have to do this. You could just be talking. And the reason why I do this is because at the bottom, when I upload my YouTube videos, I will then edit the, in the YouTube Studio app, so perhaps we do that in another video, then the end cards will be at the bottom and the subscribe button will be in the middle, and it just looks really cool and professional along the movie. You see that? Anyway, so that is the basic outline. So imagine you think, right, I've got my B-roll and blah blah blah, and then what I tend to do, you don't have to do this. You could just render it. If you're happy with it, I would recommend you watch it through, just in case a couple of transitions I haven't quite edited quite how you like, because quite often I find when you watch the whole video as one, so to speak, what looked and felt good at the time might not work, you know, it might not flow right. So bear that in mind as you're editing your videos. And then what I highly recommend then is just watch your video all the way through. And then what I do actually is I colour correct. Now I did it on a couple of films when I used to make films years ago. I'm very proud of them. You can watch some of them on our channel, so feel free to look them up, especially our dyslexia film and reel. Go and check them out after this video, of course. But something I've started doing again, just because it looks more professional, and bear in mind you don't have to do this. You can use plugins to do what I'm about to say, or you can just do it yourself. That's what I do, is just colour correct. So you can play with brightness and contrast, and for easiness and for professionalism, if that's even a word, I just play with the contrast, because I tend to like my videos fairly well, so I don't have to play with that too much. And I just up the, if you can just look at it now, I just up the contrast just a tad, or maybe down. No, I'll just bring it in a little bit, just a little bit, and I will go through every clip. I won't do it now necessarily, but I would just, and I'll make sure they're all the same, at the same level. So, you know, if you watch it through, the contrast don't go all over the place, because that just looks naff. And, you know, I'm putting some funny faces in this video, and I would just go through every clip, and I would just do that. And then I will go through every clip, do that. And then what I would then do, I'm not going to do it, but then I will render. Now, how do you render? I would recommend MP4 just because they're smaller video files, and if possible, render in not 4K. I don't recommend that. You can if you want, but bear in mind you'll need a really powerful computer to do it properly. But I would highly recommend. There's nothing wrong with HD, and I tend to render either in 1080p or sometimes 720, depending on what mood I'm in. And sometimes, because 720 just renders quicker, bear in mind the bigger the file type, the more space it takes on your computer or laptop or phone or wherever you're rendering. And just bear in mind also that because a lot of people are watching on their phones, you don't necessarily need 4K personally, because you know, for most people HD looks fine still on most people's phones, and because a lot of people have like the top of the line phone, it will make your video look really good anyway, so sort of bear that in mind. But if you want to film and edit and render in 4K, go for it. There's nothing wrong with doing that if you have the space and the computer power to do so. So yeah, that is basically how I edit a video. Let's just see if there's anyone else in the comments. Amazon Gaming, hi, good stream. Oh, thank you. That means a lot. Evening. Mr. Dubs, hey, welcome Mr. Dubs. Go and check out our local DJs, Lady Cuts and DJ Jubs. They tend to Dubs. Oh, I can't talk today, I'm really sorry. It's been a long day. Go and check them out. They're on. Dubs is usually on Saturday at 12, I believe, UK time. And Lady Cuts is usually Tuesdays at 8 till 10. And sometimes different times around the week. So go and check them out. Yeah, why not? Yeah, so that's basically how I edit a video. If you've got any questions, feel free to put them in the live comment. If you watch this on the replay, feel free to ask your questions in the comments. I've got no problem with that, and I'll do my best. I try to. I'm still at a position where I can respond to every comment best I can, until I've got 1 million subscribers, which is a long way away from. But no, seriously, if you have any editing or anything to a YouTube or video, put them in the comments and go and check them out. Thank you. You rock as well. I've been using. Oh, InShot. That's on the phone, isn't it? I don't know if you saw that actually. I actually mentioned InShot on one of my videos. I can't remember if it's posted or not. And it just looked really good. So that's interesting. That's nice to have some feedback. Yes, you rock, Sam. Yeah, I had a little look at it, and it does look a really good app. So those of you watching now, if you are a YouTube phone creator, use your phone to edit especially, I would highly recommend InShot. It just looks a really easy app, and I think it's free as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's free, and there's probably a bought version as well. But with a lot of these, there's nothing wrong with them. Just bear in mind with a lot of the free ones, they might have like a little logo on them and you have to buy it to get rid of it, but not on all of them. But I do believe InShot is really good and looks really simple to use, which again, I'm not saying that, you know, but I think it's good to have a program or app that's simple, because then it just makes your life easier, especially when you're doing this on a weekly basis. Oh, cool, wicked. You use it as well. So that's 2 of you then that use InShot. Wicked, that's awesome. And just so you know, more and more creators are using their phones to film and edit. And if you're thinking like planning ahead, you know, the only thing you want to worry about is audio and lighting, because most of your phones take fantastic video. So I wouldn't worry too much about, you know, having the best camera or I've got to have a super powerful computer. If you've got something like InShot and you've got a tripod, I would highly recommend a tripod with your phone stuck on the top of it. You are way to go. And just make sure you've got a good audio. You can buy a clip-on mic. We've got a link in there in the description. They're literally like £10. Cracking audio. You can just clip it on, or you can clip it somewhere. And just, you know, with some softbox lights or just some little lights. You know, that's all you need. You know, you don't have to spend thousands of pounds or dollars on, you know, the best and all the equipment to make good videos. It's more about how you are as a creator. The limits are you, and the more you do this, editing and filming and the rest of it, the better you will get. It's free. Awesome. Even better. That is even better. So there you go. It's free. It's an awesome app that's free that you guys clearly like, so it must be awesome because you guys rock. Yeah, damn right. Okay, awesome. I must admit, I'm a bit old school. I still like using my computer. I'm really old school. Please don't bully me. No, I'm just old school. I've been editing on computers since forever. I just like doing that. I may cross over to the dark side at some point, but no, that's wicked. That looks really good. If it works and it's good, thumbs up. Can you make a video on how to use a mini tool movie maker? Is that a different app or a different program? I don't know if I've heard, or is that just part of the Windows Movie Maker? I've heard of the Windows Movie Maker. Is that just an app? I could perhaps look into that, possibly. All right, cool. I don't have that program app, but I could perhaps look into it. Just bear in mind that all the the basic tools and skills I've been sharing today, you can use on any app or any program, and you can take these skills on anywhere, and you can use that as your foundation, if you will, to use any program. Think, oh yeah, I know how to do that, and it might be a little bit different to begin with. It might do it a slightly different way. Like I was saying about the B-roll, it might be on top instead of underneath, or vice versa. But the basic principles of editing are pretty much as I've shown today. And the more you do it, the better you'll get. Yeah, that's cool. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so it's easy to use. It's free. Go with that. That's awesome. Okay, wicked. Oh no, I've lost it. The one I started with was iMovie, but yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I must admit, I'm allergic to iMovie and all things Apple. No, they don't want that. Okay, cool. All right, I'll perhaps look at that, and if I can find it, I'll perhaps make a video on that. I don't know. I don't know. I used to have lots of, back in my college days, I just had jokes that on my Adobe, on a Windows computer, I could edit far faster than anyone on iMovies or whatever the program was on their Apple. I don't know. I just felt, I'm just a Windows man. I just find it easier to use. But if you're an Apple person, they are fantastic at what they do, just for the record. And a lot of graphic people. My cousin actually has an iPad, and she does amazing graphic work. I think she's called Jess's artwork or something like that, and she does incredible artwork on her iPad, and it looks absolutely amazing. So I probably occasionally share it, so go and check it out. I don't know if is there a way to zoom in when cutting audio and video clips? Okay, so what do you mean by that specifically then? Sorry, is there a way to zoom in when cutting audio? Do you mean zoom in the audio, or do you mean the video? Sorry if I'm getting confused. Sorry, let me read that again. Is there a way to zoom in when cutting audio? Okay, so if you mean the audio then, if I perhaps show that. So say if you're, I don't know, you are doing, say on this clip, I'm zoomed in. If you can see this now, if you're, say we're zoomed in, you can zoom in the clip. On most programs, they usually have a size positioning tool, and you can just select the clip. You can then just click on it. You can just pull it out, reposition it, and then you can see straight away.
Design a cool cover, or get someone to do it for you.
And that's the easiest way. You can also use transitions that sort of fade it in, so it pulls it in. And you can also have a tool where it just slowly zooms in, like I have a camera zoom shot on here. If you mean the audio, the easiest way to do that, actually, if I don't know, if you suddenly want an explosion, or you want audio to be really fast, or maybe if you're using music and you want it to kick in, like zoom in the audio sense, and then the easiest way to do that actually is cut the first part of the clip, then go zoom right in, get the audio, and just turn up the audio some decibels up to like 10. Or maybe 20, so you'll notice
for you, and post that on your channel so people.
So the sound will zoom in and it will become louder, and you can play around with that. Or for whatever reason, if your sound quality isn't great, you can just push up the sound quality. I hope that's answered the question. Let's have a look. I don't know. When trimming an audio clip. Have I answered the? Did that answer the question that I explained, or am I still? When trimming a clip. To be fair, on most programs, they actually have video and audio separate. They don't on this one, but on a lot of programs on your phone or on a computer, they do tend to have them separately. So you can actually, what's actually really cool, you can actually, what do you call it? Sort of unconnect them, so you can take the audio away from the video, and you can also use that, and then you can bring them back together again, if that makes any sense, and then you can drag out the audio, so it does that what we were talking about earlier about crossing over the audio, so it makes it feel more natural. You can do that, and if you want to cross clip the audio, so if you can imagine, hang on, if I get the, bear with me, so say this is 2 bits of audio, so say here, we'll just get rid of that just for easiness. So, and the same thing applies with audio. So if you want to blend 2 different songs together, or 2 people talking, the same principle as video applies to audio on most programs, is you literally just select the clip that you want, and you just gently, if you're on your phone it'd be your finger, but if you're on a computer, mouse or whatever, and you just sort of drag it over, and that will transition nicely. Now, as you made that sound like it was skipping, but that is how you transition audio. I hope that perhaps answered the question better. In my editor. Okay. No, it's fine. Don't be sorry. It's fine. That's awesome. I don't mind answering the question. Yeah, so I would just play around with that, and it probably is just a case of just playing around with the audio. And I would say if you've got separate tracks on your timeline for video and audio, just pull them over each other, and you'll get a nice transition of audio and video, and you might be able to select them both together and just pull them over each other if you think of the trimming, and that will make them trim nicely. So that's probably the easiest way, and I won't worry too much. As long as you can make the audio go over a little bit, it will just sound really smooth and nice, and that'll be great. Right, okay, so I hope you got value from today's video. Feel free to tune in. I will be back again next Friday talking about a different topic, but look out for that. Anyway, I hope you got value from today's video. I'm Dave from TVR Creators, and I make weekly YouTube tips how you build your brand. And I'll tell you what, if you've got value from this video whatsoever, smash that like button, subscribe for more weekly value, and thank you so much for all you people today that have watched this live or popped in and out. You guys all rock. And if you watch this on the replay, awesome, thank you as well. And take away something from this video. Pick one thing that you're struggling with, if it's thumbnails, editing, filming, lighting, and think, you know what, in my next video I'm going to concentrate to make that part of my video that's a little bit weaker bit better. And if you do that in every video, your content will gradually get better and better, and that applies with editing as well. So anyway, thank you again so much for watching. See you in the next video. Look around for more content, and I'm basically doing what I told you guys not to do. You can find us everywhere on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, on the moon. Anyway, have a great evening, great weekend. Get out the beer, wine, whatever, or drink water if you're not alcoholic, whatever. And you know what? Have a great weekend. As always, guys, you guys rock!